Hang on.
Hello and welcome to DFS Deep Dive. My name is Brian Craighead. As you can see, we're one man down today. It's been a kind of a rough week. On Tuesday, Luke reached out. He was not feeling well. Then today and yesterday as well, Mav came down with flu-like symptoms. So it's just Luke and myself tonight. And then along with that, for the last 24 hours, my mom has thought that she was going to church on Thursday, and that my sister-in-law was going to pick her up from Atlanta yesterday when it's supposed to be Tuesday. So she's had to be at kind of an acute care type of place, but she's doing better. So needless to say, it's just been a rough week. But we're here. We've got your content. Like I said, this DFS Deep Dive, and needless to say, we cover daily fantasy sports. You can find all of our Twitter information at the Cut FFB on Twitter. And as for me, you can find all of my stuff at VandyGrad92. I do this podcast. I'm also involved with 4 other websites. And then also I write about 5 to 6 articles a week and do a couple of Sunday live streams. So it's been a busy week. Had to cut back just a little bit. So Luke, how are you doing tonight?
Much better now. Still a little sniffly, but I think the Steelers lines made me sick personally. I think that's what it was. But
that's kind of the amazing thing. It happened early in the week to you, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And we joked about last week, like, oh, I'm the only one that has that in here. And then there it was. So I don't know what we're doing in here. But yeah, my name is Lucas Deepow. You can find me at Lucas Deepow on Twitter for all things fantasy football, Pittsburgh, and Blue Jackets. Personally, had a 151. Had the highest score in here last week after haven't had that in a few weeks. So it was good to see. And went 5-1 on the spreads, too. I think I need to stop messing with over-unders because that was the loss. So maybe we'll stick away from that.
Yeah, maybe that's the week to do it. I'm not going to mention my record in regards to spread picks. It was bad. But once again, I put in a pretty good DFS week. I wasn't quite what Luke came in, but still not disappointed. I try to be consistent, and usually I'm right there, if not in the money. So not too worried about that.
I will say all 3 lineups I played in all brought me money. So it all doubled my money with all 3 of our lineups. So it's always a good day.
Yeah, he's a brave soul. He plays all of our lineups. So we're happy about that. So like we've talked about, you got a quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a defense, and a flex. And I may have missed tight end, but if so, that's okay. And then, so those are your primary positions that you have to fill. And in each week, of course, we're doing the main slate, which is Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Eastern games. And then, with that being said, we've got some games, what I tend to call primetime games that won't be part of the slate. So last night wasn't a very pretty game at all, unless you're Mav. That was the Falcons hosting the Patriots. Sunday night, you got Luke's and my Steelers going to and then the other thing I like to mention and sometimes forget is there's a lot of we like to target games that have high implied totals or high over-unders. And so we've got a little list for you here. The first one is the Colts are playing at the Bills. Their over-under is 50.5. The Bengals are playing at the Raiders. They're also at 50.5 over-under. You got the Cardinals playing at the Seahawks, and their over-under is 48.5. Dallas and the Chiefs, which I think it deserves it, it's going to have the highest over-under, and that's at 56. But keep in mind today that Amari Cooper got, due to COVID protocol, he's going to be out not only only Sunday, but from what I understand, he's going to be out in Week 12 as well. So that's going to be interesting. And then last but not least, it's not quite at the 50 threshold, but in all honesty, it could be the highest scoring game. Packers and the Vikings. I think that's pretty interesting. And then there's 4 teams that have high implied totals that aren't part of the over/under. And those 4 teams are the 49ers at 25, the Ravens also at 25, the Browns at 27, and last but not least, the Titans also sitting at 27. So we've got a decent amount to play with this week. And the one thing I noticed when trying to do my lineup today is between the bye. There's actually one other thing I should mention. There's 2 teams on bye, and that's going to be the Broncos, and it's also going to be the Rams. So the Rams have a good offense, obviously. But the one thing I noticed as we were going through the lineups today, besides the Tampa Bay game on Monday night and the Chargers, and then also the Rams being on bye, those are about the only things that really have generally effective offenses. So those are the only teams that I thought we were missing. So that was my spiel for now, and I'm going to let Luke go ahead and introduce his lineup if he doesn't mind.
Okay. Well, here actually, so I'll do Mavs first, and we keep in order. Last week, I'll just read his. Is that cool?
That's perfect. Sure.
Okay, since we got it right here. Okay, so Mav to start. He knows what he did here. He went with Dak at 7,200, highest scoring game of the week. Can't argue with Dak. Even with Cooper down, Gallup's back, and they'll be fine without Cooper. I mean, obviously it's a big piece, but they have so many weapons there where it's not going to knock them down too much.
In fact, in that same game, I see more opportunity for both Gallup and Schultz. So keep those in mind.
For sure. At running back, he went A.J. Dillon at 6,200. And this is a smash play of DraftKings price was probably already set, during the game Sunday and all that. So he will be the guy in the backfield for Green Bay with Aaron Jones being out with a sprain of some sorts. And it's 6,200 as a steal for a game that you just mentioned. It's probably going to be a lot of points in, and a rivalry game back and forth should be a good one. The next running back, one of Mav's guys, J.D. McKissick. The good game, bad game thing is probably into effect here. And I know Gibson had a good game last week, so he loves this J.D. McKissick. And usually it's Hunter Henry, but he can't play him this week. So I was interested to see his lineup with no Patriots and no Bucks.
And what's the McKissick's price there?
5,000 flat.
So that's a good price.
It is.
The Panthers have a good defense, so I'm a little worried about the Washington offense. But at 5,000, you can't hardly beat that price. So
for sure. A wide receiver. He goes. This is another one of his boys, Justin Jefferson at 8,100, and we just talked about game A.J. Dillon should be a lot of points. Elite young receiver. Then speaking of elite young receivers, at 7,200, he went Jamar Chase for the Bengals. Bengals Raiders should be another entertaining game. The way the Bengals played D the last 2 weeks before the bye, and the way the Raiders just played against Patrick Mahomes, where we finally saw last year's Mahomes show up last Sunday night. I can see why he put Jamar Chase in here. Another receiver, he had Michael Gallup, 4,200. Obviously, with the Cooper injury, like you just talked about, him and Schultz definitely get a boost.
And it's really important to remember that Gallup came back last week. So even though he sat out for, I think, 6 or 7 games, he got his feet wet last week. So I would not be surprised if he has double-digit targets this week. So.
Yeah, watching Red Zone channel last week at 1 o'clock, I was like, man, he's going to Gallup early and often. Like, he missed him for sure. And I don't think Cooper was ever 100% with his hamstring and all that. And so he's definitely
and he was like Gallup. That was about it. So.
Yeah, for sure. For tight end, he went Darren Arnold at 4,100. This is the guy that continued just to get a bunch of targets. I don't know, his price still hasn't been adjusted for the targets he gets at tight end. He's a great punt play tight end for down there. Severely underpriced every week.
Yeah, because each of the last 4 weeks he scored double-digit points. So he's not a sexy name, and he's certainly not on a favorable team, but he's a great play.
Yeah, he's safe for sure. Also 4,100, Bryan Edwards, wide receiver for the Vegas Raiders. This is funny because he was in my original lineup and I changed it. This is one of my dynasty guys, so I do hope he has a good game this week for sure. I like this pick. Like I said, I nearly had it myself in the same flex position, so should be a fun, sneaky game there with Cincy and Vegas for sure. And then with defense, looks like he had money left over because he had Titans at 3,900 against Houston. How can you not? Titans defense shut down Stafford and the Rams, and they've looked good lately. So can't argue with anything there. Do you have any pivots for him, Brian, as I look over this?
Well, the only thing I'd like to say is circling back a little bit on Edwards. all I'd like to see him is a little more targets. He had 3 catches on 4 targets last week for a touchdown, I think, over 80 yards. So he's got the opportunity now with Ruggs gone. And I just like to see him get a couple more targets because I think he could really have a good game. And for 4,100, you're paying for upside there anyway. So
yeah, he's starting. He scored, I think, either 2 out of the last 3 weeks or last 2 weeks. He's starting to maybe he's finally, like you said, with the Ruggs thing. My only personal one, I personally would go down from Justin Jefferson to Stephon Diggs. Just because the better secondary matchup. And I went back and looked. Jefferson last year played the Packers twice and had a total of 5 catches for 52 yards. Now, that's kind of skewed because one of those was his first career game, so I'm not really going to hold that against him. And obviously, it's Justin Jefferson. But I personally think Stephon Diggs could have a bigger game. But, I mean, you're talking about, elite here. So the ex-Viking and the current Viking. But me personally, I would play Diggs over Jefferson this week.
Yeah, and even for a couple of $100 more, I mean, you could actually take the Titans down to like the Bills at 3,100, and have more to play with there. The $800 left over from the Titans. The Titans as good as the Titans have been. The Bills are number 1 ranked against in terms of giving up fantasy points to running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. So for me, I would drop it down $800 and go play with that a little bit.
Yeah, and any of the 5 receivers that are right below Jefferson there, the Diggs 79, Debo 78, AJ Brown 77, CeeDee Lamb 76, I think are all great this week. Debo's been a man on a mission.
That group, I might just go with CD just because of what we've been talking about, the increased targets for him as well. So
yeah, AJ Brown too with Derrick Henry out. It seems like Tannehill's been better, but AJ Brown hasn't been all that great. But Julio again is gone, and I don't think Marcus Johnson is going to have the 100 yards every week. I'm not. If that's a every week or a new thing, but I think AJ Brown could absolutely explode this week. It's very possible against Houston.
Yeah, I think Johnson was probably a flash in the pan. I mean, I looked him up. I didn't know much about him, if anything, and he's actually 27 years old, so it's not like he was a rookie or second-year player out of nowhere. So,
and the only running back pivot I had because of the news we got today, he had 100 left over at this lineup, right? Or did I get that? No, it looks like he spent it all. I think I read it. I think I had a yonder left over.
But who was that pivot play?
Well, he'd have to have $100, so you'd have to change something. So I personally would probably go from Jefferson to Diggs, and then go from McKissick to Jeff Wilson at 5,100. With the Elijah Mitchell news being doubtful, Jeff Wilson is now. I know it's Shanahan, but he should start against Jacksonville. But Jeff Wilson could be a smash at 5,100 for sure.
Yeah, I did watch part of that 49ers game on Monday night, and he looked very good. And he only had less than 10 carries, I think, but he looked very sharp for being out so long.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, you mentioned Bryan Edwards a couple things, but I mean, I think the lineup's fine personally. I like it. I think that's what all I would do is go from McKissick to Wilson and Jefferson down to Diggs is what I would do personally.
Those moves make sense to me.
Okay. Are we good?
I think we're good with Mav, yeah.
Okay. Yes, Mav, we still love your Patriots. We'll give you a little Patriot talk. Good job last night. And I know we going through a little 5-minute spiel right now if he's on here about the shutout and how I said my personal play was Atlanta, where that was rough. As soon as they missed that field goal.
Better today after that shutout, but I guess not.
After they missed the field goal.
Better by an hour.
They missed the field goal. I'm like, I'm going to bed. I already know this was bad. It's a mistake. All right. For my own lineup, I'll start giving out the stack here. I went Aaron Rodgers at 7,000. I tell you what, I've had some bad luck picking quarterbacks in our little podcast, but if he better do it against the Vikings. The Vikings secondary hasn't been very good, and it's Aaron Rodgers. And I stacked him with Devontae Adams at wide receivers. So 9 times out of 10, this is the right stack to do. It hasn't been all that great this year. I'm hoping I'm getting this on the right week. Adams shredded the Vikings last year, both games, so I'm hoping that comes back to fruition from last year. And then at running back, I'm sorry, Adams was 8,400. I didn't say his price. I think he is. Is he the top receiver on the slate? I think he is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was at 84 and Hill was at 82, I think.
Yeah, he is. So right away we're spending money, and we said, you know what? Let's go to running back and McCaffrey at 8,900. We're going to spend top. With McCaffrey, he didn't even play 100% snaps, and man, did they use him a lot last week. And I got a little worried when he went in the medical tent there for a second, but I know he's 8,900, but I still think his price will end up still going up. There's weeks when he's going and healthy, his price hits 10K. So think this might still be an undervalue, as crazy as that sounds, at 8,900 for McCaffrey.
Well, the one thing about it, but having both Adams and McCaffrey, like we talked about earlier, you've got solid, very high ceiling plays there, and you came back with some solid, as they'll see, came back with some solid floor plays. I like the overall lineup for sure.
It's good to know. Hopefully it works out. For the other running back, we went Myles Gaskin. This guy has not been good, but been given the opportunity, that's for sure. And the Jets are not good against running backs. So Gaskin and McCaffrey should be, a nice little combo. And Gaskin's only 5,700, and the way the Jets have played lately, and Dolphins should be positive game script, you would think. It's Joe Flacco on the other side. So Gaskin should have a touchdown opportunity and should get 20 carries in this game. I can't see him really. He should have a safe floor at worst.
Yeah, the Dolphins are 3-point favorites in it. An important stat to know is the Jets actually give it the most fantasy points to opposing running backs. So he's in a perfect spot for sure.
Right. For the second receiver, we went Maverick. It's McCaffrey, the other running back. There you go. For the second receiver, Rashard Bateman at 4,500. This guy's getting the targets. It just seems to be like the big game seems to be coming. I know that Thursday night game last week was weird, but Hollywood Brown's been dealing with a little injury. I think he's fine, but still he's dinged up. Him and Hollywood are going to be the guys, obviously, with Mark Andrews, but this could be a game where the Bears secondary hasn't been very good, and Khalil Mack just went on IR. That's another, big miss. So I think, the Bateman, he's going to have a big game sooner or later. I'd rather get it before when it happens because he might have a few here to end the year. He could have a good end of the year as a rookie, and only at 4,500 still seems kind of low for him.
Yeah, I love Bateman. That's one thing I keep waiting for them to increase his price value. But like you said, at 4,500, he started out at 4 or less. So, they're just not pushing him up enough to me.
Yeah. I swear DraftKings needs him to score touchdowns or they don't really adjust. So maybe once he does that, he'll get there. For the next play, the one guy we all three had here, Michael Gallup, just getting him out of the way, 4,200. We already talked about Mavs lineup with the Margaret Cooper news and all that, and them playing the Chiefs, obviously, shootout affair. You just want all the pieces and give us the cheap piece in the game. Tight end, actually had the same as Mav here too, Darren Arnold, 4,100. Again, we already talked about him. Safe play, safe floor, targets. Same thing every week with Mr. Dan Arnold. Sorry. And then wide receiver, I went Jalen Waddle. What was his price? I lost my screen here. Was it 5,600, I believe? Oh, I'm sorry. Take out Dan Arnold. That was my original lineup. I was going to say, wait a minute, something's not adding right up here. Jalen Waddle is 5,600. Dolphins against the Jets, like I said, he's had a lot of targets the last couple of weeks, and I like anybody against the Jets right now. My tight end is John Bates for Washington. Play Kelsey. I always play Kelsey. John Bates is 2,500. Logan Thomas is still out. Ricky Seals-Jones got hurt last week, and this guy's a complete punt playing. You're hoping for 3-4 catches, and you're happy. Again, Carolina seems really good against the run, not too good against the pass. I'm hoping he gets a couple balls. He had 3 catches in 1 half last week, so I'm hoping that works out to my favor. Could absolutely kill me, but I think it's going to work out.
I think it's worth playing. People watching should just keep in mind how good Washington's tight ends have been. Besides McLaurin, they don't have a second option to speak of. So tight ends have been successful. So it's a very good chance he could be too.
Well, speaking of second options, Curtis Samuel is now listed as questionable. He might actually play. Now, will he last? I don't know, but that could hurt him possibly if he does play. He could also hurt J.D. McKissick if he does his backfield stuff. And possible revenge game here, Curtis Samuel, of course, going to get healthy right before he plays Carolina, right? Of course that happens.
Of course, when I say he's questionable, I just assume he's doubtful. So.
Right. Yeah, unless he's off the injury report. I couldn't put him in a DraftKings. I did pick him up in a redraft league, just put him on the bench just in case, but that's just me being a Buckeye guy, though, from him being in Ohio State. And then for defense, we went with the Browns. Tim Boyle's going to be playing quarterback for the Lions. And the Browns, they have Myles Garrett. He's going to feast on that line. And the Browns should just run the ball and run them over like crazy and just play defense. I really thought their defense would be priced up higher this week playing the Lions. I know it's the Browns D, and they got shredded by New England last week, but still, I think every defense playing the Lions should be priced up.
Yeah, in all fairness, I was surprised. it's some of the ones they chose to be at the top of the list. I would have put them down a couple of spots, and like the Bills and like you were just talking about the Browns, they're both severely underpriced. So I didn't really understand the pricing this week.
For sure. But yeah, when you're playing guys like McCaffrey and Adams, obviously you're going to have plays like guys like John Bates. So that's why we had the Darren Arnold switch there. I forgot I wrote that in there, but that was mine. There's $100 left over total. The Browns were 3,100. So that's all. Unless, do you have a pivot for that? I know you said you like the lineup.
I like the lineup a lot. Now, what I'll do at the end, I'll of course give my lineup here, and then I'll just throw out some options. Whether they fit in our initial lineups, that's okay. It's just something for somebody that's listening at home that's trying to build their lineup and trying to I don't know. It's kind of tough this week. I'll throw out a few options at each position, and we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds good. We'll go ahead and give yours.
Yeah, I'll give mine. I mean, mine sounds like I've used some of the pieces that already previously been used, but I started out with a stack, and it's an unusual stack because, in all honesty, knowing I set this lineup before we found out the news about Amari Cooper, so it could very well be on Sunday I might set up a lineup where I can actually get CD in there. But I started out with Dak Prescott. He's sitting at 7,200, and then I went cheap. Just like we all did. I went Gallup. But at the same time, I've been known to be a little quirky. And since there's besides Dalton Schultz, since there's really, and you can count Zeke too, but since there's only two healthy wide receivers, I could see myself going Gallup and CD and getting all the targets from Dak because he should have a monster week just like he did last week. That Chiefs Cowboys game is going to should be a barn burner, high scoring affair. So I'm kind of excited to watch that game. My running backs, kind of opportunistic to be honest. I started out with James Conner. He's sitting at 6,100, and I did that because Edmonds is still on IR. I don't really trust Benjamin to have a lot of carries, and Conner's played exceedingly well with opportunity. Last week, even though Colt McCoy had a down game, we still got double-digit points from Conner, so I like that. And then we've already talked him up, A.J. Dillon. He's in my what we call our homeboys league, and I've been struggling to find an RB2. Well, I've got him on my team, so I feel a little bit better this week about an RB2. Or, between him and Eckler, they can flip coins to see who's the RB1 and RB2. So I'm feeling a little bit better about that this week. At my wide receiver positions, like I said, I could see an adjustment, but I did Marquis Brown sitting at 7,100. We've talked about him. Yeah, he's questionable. I feel pretty confident he'll play. If he does, then I can always rotate out come Sunday. And the other wide receiver, I believe Mav had him in his lineup. I went with Chase at 7,200. He was on a bye last week. I couldn't use him. Between him and Deontay, I'd like to have one or the other in my lineup almost weekly. So this week it's Chase, primarily because our Steelers play on Sunday night, and I couldn't have chosen Deontay if I want to. But sometimes that happens, like Mav.
Right.
My third wide receiver, we talked about Bryan Edwards, but I'm going to go with Mr. Reliable here, Hunter Renfrow. He's a man of targets. He'll get – last week on another show I did, the question was receptions for Renfrow over 5 – and it was against the Chiefs, over or under 5.5. On the show I said, well, I see him at 8. He got 7.
Yeah.
He fell a little short of my expectations. That's okay. But he's just going to get the targets, and he's been scoring touchdowns too. So the best receiver on the team, at least consistency-wise, is Renfrow. But you're also paying for that increased price against Edwards. So it's sometimes you have to do what you got to do. My tight end position, a good friend of mine, Matt Reiser, who is the founder of my original podcast, Fantasy Affair, he did a little short video this morning about Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet's my guy this week at 3,400. So want to give Batty a shout out there. And then last but not least, I'm looking for a defense. I like several, but the one that's priced the cheapest by about $400 to $600 is the Panthers, and they were sitting at 2,700. And on the year, at least in the Homeboys League I just talked about, they're the number 2 ranked in regards to points defense through the first 10 weeks. So I'm kind of surprised, that they actually fell to 2,700. They've been very solid against pretty much anything, and I don't have a ton of respect for the Washington offense. So I'm feeling pretty good about Carolina. But we'll see. I felt good about my spread picks last week too.
I'm not speaking of Washington. I'm not sure what happened to Tom Brady last week. He forgot how to play football. He was rough.
Yeah, what was the score at half? They wound up 29-19, but
I don't remember. It was every time I seen the game, he was throwing a pick. They lost Chase Young. It still didn't matter. They still couldn't do nothing. So
yeah, that's the other thing. Chase Young's out for the year, so that's something to think about if you want to play Carolina's offense, like McCaffrey. Or I'm be honest, the guy that's kind of a weird pick. I'm not totally against him. I believe he's at 5,500. Cam Newton himself.
Yeah,
he's going to get to start. I couldn't start him personally, but if I needed a quarterback to kind of fill out my lineup, I've seen worse.
Yeah, I like the plays overall. I'm kind of with you. I just have some names to throw out there. We talked about the game, the Bengals game. We also need to mention T. Higgins is only 5,400. Still underpriced, and he's been getting targets lately too. So we mentioned Jamar Chase, Brian Edwards, Hunter Renfrow, but T. Higgins in there a solid play in that game for sure.
I love T. In that Homeboys league, I'm sitting Mike Williams for T. So I've gotten tired of Mike Williams about every four out of the last 5 weeks doing absolutely nothing. So.
You know what? I'm kind of in a different situation with Mike Williams, but I'm thinking TJ Watt's out, Minkah Fitzpatrick's out, Joe Hayden's out. Like if Mike Williams doesn't do it this week, then yeah, I don't think you can start him because he'll probably catch a long ball against the Steelers this week, I would imagine. But I can't really blame you for not wanting to play him at this point.
Yeah, 4 times bitten, you got to kind of stick away. But I agree with you. I think the opportunity is there. But it's like my last straw. I don't know if you watched the game last week, but he dropped a touchdown pass, a definite touchdown pass on the 2-yard line. It just went straight off his hands. I'm like, okay, there's last straws and everything. I've seen enough. If you can't score a touchdown on that play, I don't know. I still think he can do well this week, but I don't know. I've been burnt too much.
I see Maverick was pointing at Mark Ingram there at 5,400 with Kamara out. That's obviously a good play. And Dave Montgomery, I think he wants us to mention too. 5,500.
I love Dave Montgomery, yeah.
Either one. The one below him too, if Edwards-Helaire is out, Darrell Williams is only 5,400 in that Chiefs-Cowboy games. He had, 9 catches on Monday night? So any 3 of those I'm cool with. Obviously, if Edwards-Helaire is out, which the way they're talking, I don't think he's playing this week.
Even if he does, it'll be a very limited role.
Yeah, I'm so scared of those two once they're both healthy now. As good as Darrell's played, I don't know how much of a role Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to get back because Darrell's played very well.
I totally agree. I'm going to throw out a few pivot plays here at each position.
Okay.
I like Burrow at 6,600 in that same Bengals-Raiders game we just talked about. I don't mind Tannehill at 6,700. And last but not least, in our quarterbacks, I'm on the Tua bandwagon. Anybody against the Jets? So
Mav just brought up Nick Chubb and circled him obviously against the Lions. If you can fit Nick Chubb in your lineup, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he's on my short list here too. That's one thing to keep in mind about Chubb. He was out for COVID last week, but he's definitely in this week. So I totally agree.
I just wanted to real quick. I just wanted to add with Luke's team. I was gonna pivot. I was trying to show you guys. I was trying to pivot from McCaffrey to Hunt. I mean, not Hunt, Chubb. And
okay.
Go from I don't even know what tight end you had to Cole Kmet.
John Bates.
Yeah, the guy to Cole Kmet.
He said who?
Yeah, I think from McCaffrey to Jesus, what did I say?
Chubb.
You had 1,100 left over, so you can go from whoever that tight end was that you had to Cole Kmet.
Yeah, the no-name tight end. Hey, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I still have no idea who that guy is.
I don't mind that, actually. It's not bad.
If my math's right, you even making that move, you'll have a couple of $100 left to spend elsewhere too. So.
Yeah, I think he has 200 from that.
Yeah.
So that would definitely be a good move. Chubb's going up against the defense that gives up the 3rd most fantasy points to running backs. So I think that one's kind of definitely a smash play, even though our Steelers, Najee Harris had a good game, but the rest of our Steelers just didn't show up.
Yeah, we won't talk about 1st and goal from the 5 and throw it 3 straight times. I'm not going to get into that again.
No, exactly.
And there's a lot of people that were bored from the game yesterday. I know, I'm not going to speak anymore because my voice is terrible, but that game yesterday was amazing. If y'all got bored, I don't know what to tell y'all.
I went to bed.
That game yesterday was amazing.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's their loss if they got bored.
All the energy, the little bit of energy that I had once JC Jackson caught that pick, I just lost it all. I had no voice after that. All right, I'll go back into hiding. So y'all give out the spread picks.
I'm gonna give a couple more pivot plays first. We still looks like we got plenty of time today.
Yeah, I'll just click on whoever you mentioned and show whatever stats they got. Got you.
So my running backs that I kind of like, I've got Joe Mixon sitting at 7,600, and then I'm kind of into Josh Jacobs this week at 6K. So those are my two running back plays. Like I said, as you'll see, we're kind of targeting some of the same games with high implied totals and high over-unders, and Jacobs and Mixon play against each other. So I think I could see that being, even though it could be a passing game, it would not shock me if it's more running, kind of a running game too. So it could be a nice balance between the two. And then let's see, who else do I have? So in regards to wide receiver, I'm actually looking at the pair of wide receivers for the 49ers. Debo's a little high price at 7,800, but Brandon Ayuk at 5,000 I think is a really great play. Last week, Garoppolo had 19 pass attempts for the game because they were ahead 24-7, or I think it was 24-7 at half, or maybe 21-7. They didn't really need to pass.
Yeah.
Ayuk still looked good last week. He just didn't have many targets for the game. So I like him a lot. And then another guy that's really been coming on is a rookie, even though I don't like necessarily leaning on the Jets, but Elijah Moore at 4,900 is a very good value play.
Are you worried about Joe Flacco at all?
You know what? As ugly as Flacco can be, he's been all these years, he's been a journeyman. I actually feel better about him than I would with Zach Wilson for sure.
Yeah.
Flacco's taken a lot of rift over his career, but he's not that bad of a quarterback. He's certainly better than Trent Dilfer was.
Yeah, he was a pain in the Steelers' ass for a few years there.
Yeah, exactly. He's not that bad. And then the guy, let's see, the other guy one player to keep in mind is Dawson Knox for the Bills. He came back in a very limited role last week. I think he'll be more involved this week, and he's sitting at $4,000, totally underpriced. And he's going up against the Colts defense that gives up the fifth most fantasy points to tight ends, and they've got one of the highest implied totals on the board at 29. So he's a sneak play. And last but not least on tight ends, the guy that I've been like, okay, so he missed all these weeks. George Kittle has just been balling ever since he came back.
I think he's back.
Oh, he's back plus a little.
And the baddest tight end has been this year. I shouldn't say this year. Beginning of the year is fine, but lately it seems like it's back to just being Kelsey, the top guys, and except for Waller, I don't know what's going on there. But I agree with Kittle though. Him and Kelsey, I think, are back in their own tier again.
The comment that was made on I believe it was let me see, what was it on? Oh, NBC Sports Edge today was that the reason Waller is not doing as well is they don't have rugs to spread the field. So they've been concentrating. Most of the defense have been concentrating all their efforts to stopping Waller and letting somebody else beat him. So that's the theory that's been bandied around. So
that makes sense. There's one tight end I want to throw out there. The Cardinals are good against tight end, but last week Gerald Everett had 8 targets in Russell Wilson's first game back. I don't know if that's just they were down the whole game or what, but I want to keep it on that. I will not play him this week. But if he gets 8 targets again this week, he's definitely going to have a little star next to his name for next week for sure.
Yeah, I like Everett. I didn't have him written down, but I agree with you. He's definitely one to watch. And that was about it for tight ends. And then we've mentioned all of our defenses except for one. I've got the Eagles, and they're sitting at 2,900. I think they're a pretty good play against the Saints.
Gotcha. I had 2 more receivers I wanted to throw out there. You mentioned Cole Kmet with A-Rob's injury. We need to mention Darnell Mooney at 5,200. With A-Rob, sounds like he's not going to play, so he will be the number 1. And between him and Kmet, I wouldn't trust any other wide receivers in Chicago or tight ends. But he definitely, it seems now is going to be underpriced with the A-Rob injury. And then a rookie that's came on lately at 6,100, Devontae Smith has been fire the last 2 weeks. He has 9 catches, over 200 yards, and 3 touchdowns last 2 weeks. So he's only 6,100 too, and could be a steal at that price.
Yeah, I definitely have Devontae on my short list of pivot plays. I like him a lot this week.
Somebody else said. Oh, and then our guy we always say, Brandon Cooks is only 6,000. They're going to be losing the whole game. He'll end up with probably 7 for 70, and the chance of him scoring aren't very high, but that's another floor guy for sure.
And in all honesty, the Titans give up the most fantasy points to wide receivers. I had him in my initial lineup. I just adjusted elsewhere. But yeah, we always talk about Cooks, and he deserves to talk. So
yeah. And you mentioned Mike Williams. I'm playing Brandon Cooks over Mike Williams, I think, in a dynasty, and I didn't think I'd ever do that, but I think it's time.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Like I said, this will be the week that Williams has 100+ yards, 2 touchdowns. Hopefully not 2, maybe 1. But anyhow, he'll have a big week just when I'll sit him. So
I'll tell you my hardest start sit I got to go through this week. With Gronk being healthy, I got to pick Gronk or Schultz. Let me know, who would you pick between those two?
I'm personally going Schultz.
Okay, that's where I'm leaning to. Yeah, I got to see Gronk play for a week. Let me see he plays the whole time,
That's like that's an easy decision for me here.
Oh, here comes the expatriate Gronk.
He's an easy decision. If Gronk's on the field, if they're in the red zone, he is seeing the ball.
Do you trust it though? Coming back first week off injury?
Yeah, because he was questionable last week.
You don't think he's playing unless he's fully healthy?
Yeah, like they don't really need him. Like they're gonna make the playoffs. They're not playing for the 1 seed.
That's the thing too. I'm just scared about they get in front of the Giants and don't throw it much. Where the Cowboys and Chiefs are probably gonna be throwing the whole game.
Yeah, but if you're in the red zone, like this is still a revenge game from those Super Bowls. If Brady has a chance to blow out the Giants, he's gonna do it.
I could play them both.
Schultz, like I can look up Schultz's stats real quick.
Actually, I didn't even think about that. I could play them both. I was going to play Kenny Galladay in the flex. Would you guys rather play them both over Kenny Galladay?
Yes,
probably. Like Schultz hasn't really done much since like week 6.
Yeah, we just think with Cooper being out, he might have some more targets.
Yeah, but that's what we thought when Gallup went down. Like nobody did anything for like the first few weeks.
That's true.
I'll say this about Galladay versus Gronk: the risk of injury to Galladay is probably greater than Gronk. So.
That's a good point. Yeah, and I'll take the better quarterback.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
All right, let me go back into.
Sorry, not to get into redraft mode there, but I was in a conundrum. I'm 7-3 playing a 6-4 team, and this league is highly competitive. We have actually, it's funny. Our top 6 seeds, 3 are 7-3, 3 are 6-4, and all the 7-3 teams are playing the 6-4 teams this week. So it's a monster week in our league in that one.
Yeah, we hope not. They could all be 7-4. Hopefully you're 6-4. So.
Yeah, it'd be nuts. It's possible we have a 6-way tie for first in week 12. I've never seen something like that.
No.
All right, we can move on to spread picks now before I get too much into my other leagues and get on my own little tantrums here. Here, I'll read Mavs first if you want.
That'd be awesome.
Okay, let me just find the text here. All right. I'm perfectly okay with this, and because we knew we picked the Patriots every week. So Patriots last night win. Good job, Mav. I was wrong, and yeah, boy, did I think the Falcons would actually show up at home. And hey, we could say in this podcast, though, I've seen the only 2 teams that Matt Ryan's never beat, other than his own team, is the Patriots and Steelers. So hey, we got that going for us. But we've only,
Well, did love the fact that they listed 3 teams that he hadn't beat, and one was kind of obvious.
Yeah, we know he's never played against Atlanta, but
exactly. I guess he wins most inter-squad scrimmages. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe he's the guy the Steelers get next year. I think we're going to get some kind of veteran. I don't know who it's going to be, but you never know. Falcons kind of need to blow it up, I think.
The long-term quarterback, mark my words, Malik Willis, Liberty.
You think so?
That's my pick.
My dream is Aaron Rodgers, but that's far-fetched. Let me get Rodgers for 5 years.
I don't think he's playing another 5. He's too busy out in the beaches, probably.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so he's got the Patriots. He's off to 1-0 start this week. He's going 49ers. I'm just going to read them off order as he texts them in here. I don't have the numbers. So 49ers -7 flat in Jacksonville. I get it, the way the Niners played last week and, smacked the Rams. The only thing I would say about this is it's a short week going across country, but the Jags D's played good the last 2 weeks, but I couldn't back the Jaguars here myself, so I get the pick. Next pick, Titans. How do you not pick against the Texans? That's fine. As the Titans, 9.5, 10 flat. Okay, so Titans -10. Can't argue that one either. Obviously, you pick against the Texans. Green Bay, his next pick, going on the road -1. Divisional game there. It's a tough game. Spoiler alert, I'm on the other side of that one. Raiders, this is next pick at home against the Bengals. What's the line there? Raiders plus. You wanted Raiders or Bengals, man? Okay, I'm just making sure. Raiders are plus 1.5 at home, so it should be a very entertaining game for sure. That one will be fun to watch. And then he's taking the Cowboys against the Chiefs, and I get it. The Chiefs don't normally cover; they just kind of beat up a. We all know the Raiders got a lot going on off the field. I don't think their head's in the game right now, so I'm cool with thinking the Chiefs might have overachieved last week and taking the Cowboys for sure. I do think the Cowboys are a more complete team than the Chiefs, even with Cooper out. So those are Matt's picks. We'll see how he does next week. And he's obviously got the best start to any of us after being 1-0 already.
He's already got one more win than me last week.
Hey, we weren't going to say that, all right? I wasn't going to throw that out there. For me, I don't have the spread numbers in front of me, so I'll say teams and let Matt do it, as he already has the Vikings after I said that. That was the only one I was against you, buddy. I just take the home team. We talked about for weeks on here how the Vikings have been – their record's better than what they show. The game's going to be close. Someone's winning this game by a field goal probably, or 7 at most. But I'm hoping get my Rodgers-Adams stack, and I hope the Vikings just outscore them. My other pick, I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts plus 7 against Buffalo. I feel like I picked this Colts team way too much, but they hopefully they show up this game and show up a complete game. They don't like to show up the whole game all the time, like Jacksonville last week. It looked like they were going to blow Jacksonville's doors off, and all of a sudden they look like they're going to lose. But I think this is going to be a very entertaining. I think it might end up being low. I don't know about the total in this game, but I think the Colts can keep it within 7 with the possibility to win maybe late. But it's always tough betting on Carson Wentz. My next pick, I don't usually lay the points. This is unusual for me, but I'm taking the Browns. I don't care what it is. It's Tim Boyle. It's the run. I think they're just going to obliterate Detroit. I do wish Case Keenum was playing. I don't know why Baker Mayfield's going out there all hurt like this. I think he's an idiot. I think the Browns are an idiot for playing him. The next pick, this is a sneaky, bad, looks horrible, but I'm taking the Jets plus 3.5. This is a home divisional game. Joe Flacco, like you said, veteran quarterback. I think the Dolphins just beat the Ravens, everybody and their brother. Say, Dolphins and the Jets come in and beat them because it doesn't make sense and it's the NFL. Although that was kind of my theory with Atlanta last night. It didn't work. But I'm going to take the Jets at home. I think the Jets win this game outright, personally. So getting 3.5, I'll take it. The next game, this is kind of me being a hater, but I'm taking the Bears against the Ravens. I think it's too many points. The Bears are coming off a bye week. And Lamar's kind of been sick all week. They're kind of dinged up. Justin Fields has gotten a little bit better every week. I don't like that he doesn't have Allen Robinson, but we talked about Mooney and Kmet and Montgomery's healthy. And I think the Bears are going to stay in this game and getting almost a touchdown. I wish it would get to 7, but for the spread picks, we'll say what it is on here is 6.5. I think it's a lot at home. We'll take the Bears. And my last pick, I'm doing a math thing here. I'm going Homer, Mason Rudolph, Big Ben. I don't care. It's up to 6 now, Pittsburgh against the Chargers. All I know is we went to the Chargers a couple years ago with Duck Hodges, and we got the job done. And about 8 years ago, we went to the Chargers with Michael Vick, and this was not prime Michael Vick, and we got the job done. Give me Tomlin. Give me the veteran head coach that nobody wants to respect in Pittsburgh, and it drives me nuts. I hope Tomlin doesn't leave until he wants to. And I think the Steelers, at worst, lose this game close. That's my picks.
I'm actually predicting a win for the Steelers.
I hope so, man. I like when no one expects Pittsburgh to win, they usually show up.
That's the problem. When they're expected to just roll somebody, they
right.
lose or tie.
Yeah, I got a lot of crap at work this week for, we tied. I'm like, you know what? I knew, like Matt said, the spread, but it's like, this is what Pittsburgh does. We never went out in Oakland when they were 2-14, starting Terrell Pryor. We couldn't beat them, but then we'll go beat the Peyton Manning Colts. It's just been Pittsburgh for the last 20 years.
It has.
It's frustrating.
It's been very frustrating, but my picks, I don't know. I'm not very confident now that I've heard yours because, like I said, our records were complete flip-flops. Prior to that, I've done really well. But anyhow, I've gone, I think, pretty much contrary to you.
Oh, no.
I went Bill -7 versus the Colts. I don't think you picked this game at all, but I like the Panthers -3.5 versus Washington. I've got Baltimore. Now, what did you say spread was on Baltimore currently? I had it 4.5 this morning.
It's up to 6.5.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I could agree with your pick on that one. I'll go with the Bears on that one because, like I said, I had 4.5 written here, so it's gone up a lot for, I guess, because of the Robinson injury. Only thing I can think of.
Yeah, maybe they were a little wondering about Lamar at first because he was sick, and now that he practiced today, maybe we're like, okay, that could be it too.
Yeah, I'll go with the Bears. That seems a little bit too heavy. I'll go with the Bengals. I had them at -1. Is it -1.5? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, not much of a difference there.
No, I'll go with them. And what were the Chiefs at? I had them 2.5 this morning.
I think it's close to the same. Yeah, it's 2.5 still.
I'll go with the Chiefs -2.5. And then last but not least, I like the Saints plus the points. They're not playing well necessarily, but I don't think a lot of Philly either. So I'm just going to go Saints +3.
Yeah, you're actually you're against me on one and against Maverick on two actually because he had the Raiders and the Cowboys. Raiders, Bengals, and I have no idea. That's you two. You two can have the head-to-head on that. If I had to bet that game, I would just take the over personally because I don't know who the heck's going to win that game. As a Steeler fan, I hope it's the Raiders.
Coming off of a bye. So
yeah, that's the thing. You think they'll get the defense fixed up a little bit. And you mentioned Joe Mixon earlier. I think they need to, you know what, let's calm it down for Burrow here. Let's run the ball a little more, let Mixon get going and open up the pass. And same with the Panthers-Washington game. I'm not touching that game, the 10-foot pole, but I would take Panthers if I had to pick a side for sure.
The reason why I picked the Raiders is because outside of they would have had all the momentum if Deshaun Jackson didn't fumble. He fumbles and the game goes to shit after that.
What was he doing? Turning around?
I have I guess he thought the guy was a lot closer and he tried to make a move to gain some type of separation, and he just not holding the ball properly. And if he could have just kept running, and he probably outruns both of those guys, but they were playing well up until that point, and then all momentum is lost, and then the Chiefs, they just can't be stopped. The Raiders had no type of pass rush. We already know the Bengals O-line not the strongest, so I do think Crosby's his name, Max Crosby.
He's a beast. And
Yannick Ngakoue, I do think they get pressure, and their defense plays way better than they did last week. And I do think they have the offense with Edwards and now Deshaun Jackson, who was able to make a play. He just fumbled. It'll open up for Waller now that you have Deshaun Jackson. Just him being out there is a threat. Brian Edwards, the running game. I do think they keep it close, and I have them in the upset here over the Bengals. This is the kind of game the Bengals do lose. Who else did I even pick again? I don't even remember. Oh, I do think the Packers beat the Vikings. I do think Rodgers takes care of business here. Business as usual. Rodgers is back after his little COVID thingy thing that he had going on. I don't think losing Aaron Jones makes a difference. I think AJ Dillon will just do his thing, continue where their running game left off. And I do think they beat the Vikings. They usually split, but the way those teams play are pretty weird. I can see the Packers winning on the road and the Vikings winning on the road the next time they play.
I want to know your opinion, Mav, on Pittsburgh Chargers, you being the non-Steeler fan. Is that too many points, or do you think the Chargers blow them out of the water?
I don't trust.
Or does it depend on Roethlisberger?
Yeah, if Roethlisberger was playing, I'd feel a little bit more confident. And didn't you guys just lose TJ Watt?
TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, and Joe Hayden are all
so I don't even know how you guys even defend the Chargers here. But the Steelers are the kind of team that's resilient enough to pull off this upset here. And I'm not big on the Chargers at all.
Okay. But you don't feel very confident if it's Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. So, I mean, I maybe they cover, maybe the defense and Najee Harris, maybe they keep the game close. Mm-hmm. But I do think the Chargers are heavily overrated coming into the season. They were Super Bowl contenders for whatever reason. I do think they came into the season heavily overrated, and I do think them getting beat up by the Patriots was people were starting to see okay, maybe this team isn't that good. And I do think the Steelers, I don't even know if it's Rudolph or maybe Dwayne Haskins comes in for whatever reason.
No,
I think it's low scoring. Honestly, I would probably take the under if anything.
I could see that.
Because I think the Steelers defense is still good enough to keep it close.
You mentioned. Sorry. Go ahead.
And if the Chargers win, maybe it's a field goal, or if they lose, it's because they miss a field goal, because that's just how the Chargers lose.
Chargers and Steelers games both traditionally this year have gone down the wire, so I could definitely see that. But you mentioned Najee. It's not in our slate, but I do want to say the Chargers' run D is not good. The Steelers better feed Najee Harris in this game. He better get 20 carries.
The cover is more about a time of possession. Like you said, if they can get Harris involved, they can certainly keep it close. So
I just think this game becomes like more of a dogfight than like more of a shootout, because the over under 47 is leaning towards a shootout, and I just don't see this game being that way.
The Chargers may be without Joey Bosa and Tillery on the D-line as well for COVID reasons, so we both are missing big pieces.
Christ. So, I don't even know.
They can't flex this game out. They're like, well, this one's stuck on Sunday night while Chiefs-Cowboys is 4 o'clock. They're probably, well, we messed this one up.
Yeah. But, and the thing was, with the Bears being 6.5, honestly, I'd feel confident taking the Ravens.
Do you? You have no faith in the Bears?
No, not at all.
Dang, you're sick and you're still taking a shot at Christian and his quarterback.
No, I just don't. I don't trust that entire team. Like, I like Justin Fields, and I would have liked it if the Patriots moved up to take Justin Fields. I felt bad when he got drafted by the Bears. It's not even like a shot at Fields; it's a shot at the Bears organization. They're just terrible.
Oh, for sure.
They haven't had a quarterback like in my existence. So
they haven't had many overall, so it's okay.
Yeah, like their best quarterback is Jay Cutler. Like, that's disgusting. So like 6.5, is that even a lot for a Ravens defense that usually loves to get turnovers and get sacks, whoever's even on the field?
Yeah, it's on the road, and both teams were on a bye last week, so that's interesting. But Fields has played slowly better. I don't know. I just thought it was a lot personally, because the Ravens should have a lot more losses than they do. Like, they should have lost the Lions themselves.
Oh no, the Ravens should have a lot more. Yeah, they should have like 2 more losses on their record. But I just think the Ravens defense by themselves, the Ravens defense can outscore the Bears offense.
What I'll say about the Ravens defense, they don't seem to. Maybe I'm wrong, but they don't seem to be quite as dominant as they have been in years past.
Oh no, just too many injuries. Like they lost a lot of pieces. This is more of a shot at the Bears' shitty offensive line, crappy play calling. I just think it's just Bears are just terrible.
I don't know why they brought Matt Nagy back again.
Yeah, and he should have been fired this time last year.
For sure.
Who else did I even pick again? Obviously I picked the Patriots. That was like a no-brainer. I don't remember. Oh, the Titans -10. Yeah, I told you guys last week the Titans were the only good team in the NFL. They were the only team that won last week of all the good teams.
Oh,
Cardinals lost.
Buffalo beat the Jets.
But that don't count.
I know they lost to Jacksonville the week before.
Yeah. I think those were my picks.
I bet you cannot wait for these Patriots-Bills games, huh?
I can't wait, actually. Yeah, and they play the Titans next week. I think that game next week will tell you who the coach of the year is.
Yeah, for sure. You guys got anything else? Did we talk? Let's see if there's any game we didn't talk about for spread-wise. I think. Did we talk about the Monday night game?
Who is playing Monday night?
That's what
Giants.
Tampa.
Giants and Bucks. It's a revenge game. I do think 10.5 is too much.
Giants are up a bye, but Tom Brady just lost, and now he's a home run life. So sorry, Daniel Jones.
Angry Brady, but like the Giants are still his kryptonite. Even last year, they played him tough.
And the Giants,
they always play them close. Even if you look at 2007 when we went 16-0, like it was still like a 4-point game.
Yeah.
So even at Brady's best, like the Giants, they just keep it close all the time. The 2 Super Bowl games. What was it, like a 3-4 point game? Like it's just always close. I think 10.5 is way too much, even if it's in Tampa.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll last the whole game, but we should. The Giants, first time I think all year, are going to be fully healthy in offense. Galladay, Saquon, they're all at least starting the game healthy. So that'll help.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll trip over his own
Seahawks,
feet.
Cardinals. I think the 1.5 is. I mean, sure, there's no DeAndre Hopkins, but as long as Kyler Murray's healthy, I think they should win no problem. Like, I think the Seahawks.
I don't know. If Kyler's out, they're starting Cody Strevler. I don't know.
Who?
Yeah, because Colt McCoy's hurt. So
okay, if Kyler's not playing, I don't know how you don't take Seattle here +1.5.
I only know that because I had the game on and I seen Colt go out. I said, I had to look this dude up. I said, who the heck is this guy?
Yeah, if Kyler Murray's not playing,
if Russell Wilson loses to Cody Strevler, he needs to leave Seattle this year. Like, get out of town.
And then 49ers -7. I just think there's too much momentum after beating Arizona. And especially with the run game, Kittle's officially back. Like, he's healthy. That's Jimmy G's boy. The team is starting to get healthier, even though they're losing their starting running back. But they have like 8 of them on the roster anyway, so it's not even that big of a loss.
Right.
Like, they can run out anybody at running back. It's gonna go well because their left tackle is the best in the league right now, and their O line is just like a top 3 unit in the league.
They can
and then you bring back George Kittle, who's like 100%, who seems 100% healthy again. So -7 against the Jacksonville team, who I still have no idea what they're doing. So if anybody knows what they're doing, you can take Jacksonville, but I will not be taking Jacksonville here.
Okay.
-12 Cleveland. Unless Kareem, I keep saying Kareem Hunt. Damn it. Nick Chubb, unless he runs for like 300 yards, they're not covering this.
I think they do, man. It's Tim Boyle.
I really.
I know it's the Browns.
I understand it's like a Madden generated quarterback with like a 65 overall that's playing this game, but their starting quarterback was Jared Goff, and my grandfather called him Goof, and I don't blame him because Jared Goff is trash. Other than the year they went to the Super Bowl, Jared Goff has always been trash.
Yeah.
And if Jared Goff is playing in this game, I really don't think it matters who the quarterback is for the Lions at this point. Like, I really don't think this Madden generated quarterback is going to be that much worse than Goff.
Agreed.
Because all he's going to do is just check it down anyway. So so I really don't see much of a difference between Goff and who's his quarterback at this point?
Tim Boyle. Yeah.
Boyle. Okay, I seen his college stats. He's terrible too. But like I said, between the what Goff was giving you and what this quarterback can give you that's playing on Sunday, I don't see much of a difference because you're just going to check it down anyway.
The only thing that's tough is the Browns are pretty good against the run. So last week against the Steelers, they ran it so many times. I don't know if they'll be able to do that this week.
I guess the Steelers.
I just think 12 points is a little too much for a team that is just currently struggling.
For sure. Yeah, the Steelers couldn't. It doesn't matter what running back they had out there. We were just getting shredded. It was embarrassing.
Yeah. And the Browns, like I said, if Nick Chubb isn't going to get you 200 plus rushing yards, I don't see how the Browns can cover because Baker Mayfield is one hit away from being out for the season.
Yeah, he shouldn't be playing this game anyway. Case Keenum's just pretty much.
And even if you bring in Case Keenum, he's gonna game manage the hell out of this. So, like I said, I think 12 is too much.
Okay.
And the over under, I think this is too many points. I don't even know if they score more than 35.
It's a lot for those two.
So that was my thought process on that game, but I didn't touch it because, like I said, Chubb is the kind of guy that would actually give you 200 rushing yards and like 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But since somebody touched this game, so I was like, let me, I guess, put my 2 cents in there. But that's all I got. I'm tired of talking.
Well, Matt, thanks for joining us, and definitely great to have you. You ready to sign off here?
Yes, sir. Mav, are you still here? No? Yeah. Okay, go ahead. If you want to read it off one time, get it in there.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Mav's at Protagonist Protagonist TV _ Sorry.
No, you're good.
I butchered you there. But you can find him there for his Patriots in fantasy. And he has the weekend off, I guess, now. So rest up, Mav. Get better.
Thanks.
See you on here next week. I'm at Lucas DePow. Find me on Twitter. Fantasy, Pittsburgh, Blue Jackets, Buckeyes. Huge game tomorrow here in Columbus playing Michigan State. So we got a lot going on this weekend.
And I just wanted to thank everybody for joining in. Mav, like I said, great to have you on. Hope you get to feeling better hopefully by Sunday.
Thanks.
And in terms of all my content, you can find me at VandyRad92. I'm there frequently, so feel free to tweet, add me, whatever you want to do. So once again, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back again Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I hope you all enjoy the weekend and good luck in all your games. Thanks for tuning in.
See you guys.